Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Hockey Talk with TG Podcast. I'm Ty Glenn. Hope you guys are having a great Thursday. Got lots of NHL news to discuss, so make sure that you stay tuned in to this episode until the end. And as always, do me a favor, hit that like, subscribe button if you're watching the Hockey Talk TG Podcast or listening to the Hockey Talk TG Podcast on the YouTube channel. If you're tuning in on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio, make sure to follow the Hockey Talk with TG Podcast on there. We are with you guys every Tuesday and Thursday from 1 o'clock p.m. to 1:30 p.m. Central Time, 2 o'clock p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure to hit that follow button, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell button so you can stay up to date on the latest episodes of the Hockey Talk TG Podcast and the latest hockey news going around the league. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started into today's NHL news. Buffalo Sabres, New Jersey Devils. Sabres hold off the Devils with a 2-1 win in Newark on Wednesday. And with the win, Buffalo improves to 33-19-6 of the season. They lost 3 of their last 4 games before the Olympic break. But at least on the bright side, they won 7 of their last 10 games. And don't look now, the Sabres are in third place in the Atlantic Division with 72 points. 72 points in their third place in the Atlantic. If this was 2018, 2019, where the Sabres, I think Jack Eichel was still on the team then. Ryan O'Reilly was on the team in 2018, then went to St. Louis in 2019. But if that was those kind of Buffalo Sabres, even if Evander Kane on the team, then before he went to the Sharks, this Sabres team would probably be still doing terrible and not doing as we expected them to, like this Buffalo Sabres team. So if this was like 2017, 2018 or so, we would say the Sabres are not going to make the playoffs. But this is a whole different, new, young, talented Buffalo Sabres team. It is crazy to see what Buffalo has done all this season and what they're looking forward to do for the rest of the season as they push towards the playoffs and look to snap their long playoff drought. I don't believe this is the year, despite the Sabres playing tremendously well this season. I have to see it to believe it. To see that the Sabres are clinch the playoffs. Yes, they are in the playoff spot. Third place in the Atlantic. But I have to see that the Sabres have officially made the playoffs. I have to see that the Sabres have clinched the playoffs. To know, like, oh, the Sabres are a playoff team now. Like, there's still lots of time left in the season. Things could change. We could see the Sabres still out of the playoffs as teams in the wild card look to win more games at this point in the season and get themselves within the playoff spot. So things could change. There's still lots of time left in the season. So I'm not going to say that the Sabres are a playoff team just yet, despite them being in a playoff spot. Like, I have to see it to believe it. I have to see that the Sabres have officially clinched the Stanley Cup playoffs for me to say that they're a playoff team. Because like I said, it's like today's the February 26th. There are 49 days left until the end of the regular season. So there's still time left, and things could change at some point of the season. So even though the Sabres are doing good, I'm not going to say that they're a playoff team just yet. But I will say this: they are on pace to finish with 101 points, which would be its most season since 2006-2007, in which they had 113 points that year. So, like I said, still lots of time left. I'm not going to say just yet that they are a playoff team. We'll just have to see how everything goes throughout the final 1-2 months of this NHL season. Payne Krebs, he had a goal and assist for a 2.9 for the Sabres. And Mr. TNT, Tage Thompson, fresh off for winning a gold medal with Team USA at the Winter Olympics in Milan, Cortina, Italy. He also had a goal and assist for a 2.9 for the Sabres. And he extends his point streak to 5 games, in which he has 6 points during the span. 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points during a 5-game point streak. And this marks his 4th-point streak of at least that length this season. And now he has 19 points in his past 16 games played against the New Jersey Devils. 12 goals, 7 assists for 19 points in his past 16 games against the Devils, which is the most goals and points by a Sabres player over that span, dating all the way back to April 6th of 2021. Crazy stat to think about. Rasmus Dahlin had his 7-game point streak ending for the Sabres. He had 12 points during that span. 4 goals, 8 assists for 12 points during that 7-game point streak. He played on Team Sweden's roster at the 2026 Winter Olympics. And I know Jack Hughes' brother, Quinn Hughes, scored that overtime game-winning goal against Sweden to send USA to the semifinals to face Slovakia. So pretty sure Jack Hughes and Rasmus Dahlin has settled the differences. And even Jacob Markstrom too, because he was also on that Team Sweden team as well. So, and their team and Jack Hughes and Jacob Markstrom, pretty sure they also settled their differences before the game. So yeah. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen made 27 saves and 28 shots faced the net. Fortunately, he did not play for Finland at the Winter Olympics because he was out with a lower body injury. He was replaced by Jonas Korpisalo. So we didn't get to see him in the Winter Olympics, but we get to see him still playing for the Buffalo Sabres and just got that win for the Sabres' first win after the Olympic break. Good to see that. For the New Jersey Devils, Timo Meier scored the long goal for New Jersey. Jake Allen made 28 saves on 30 shots faced the net for the Devils. And prior to this game, prior to puck drop between the Sabres and the Devils, the New Jersey Devils honored all 7 of their 2026 Olympic players before the game. For Team Switzerland, they honored Nico Hischier, Jonas Sigathar, and Timo Meier. For Team Slovakia, they honored Simon Nemec. For Team Sweden, they honored Jacob Markstrom and Jesper Bratt. And for Team USA, they honored the man who scored the golden goal for USA for them to win their first gold medal since 1980, the Miracle on Ice game, Jack Hughes. And this was a crazy fact that I figured out. For those that have seen the movie Miracle, there was one scene in that movie where Jack Hughes' name was scratched out. I think it's at I want to say somewhere in the beginning of the movie before, it's before Herb Brooks gets the team together, before he and the other people sign, who's on the team, who made the team, who didn't make the team. It's somewhere before that scene, I want to say. I'm trying to think of where it is in the movie, but it's somewhere in that scene in Miracle that Jack Hughes' name was scratched out. And it's not this Jack Hughes, it's an entirely different Jack Hughes whose name was scratched out for Team USA for the Winter Olympics. It's in the movie Miracle. It's somewhere at the beginning of the scene, before Herb Brooks and the other USA coaching staff starts recruiting the players, saying who made the team, who didn't make the team, before they practice together and stuff like that. It's somewhere before that. And for those who did not see the movie Miracle, it's a really good movie. It's based on a true story of the 1980 USA hockey team winning gold medal against the Soviets. It's the Miracle on Ice game. This was played in Lake Placid, New York. And it's a really good hockey movie to watch. The greatest sports movie, I would say, of all time. It's on Disney Plus. I think it's on Hulu, but you can most certainly watch it. Excuse me. You can most certainly watch it on Disney Plus if you haven't seen the movie. It's a really good movie, so if you haven't seen it yet, I encourage you to watch it. But Jack Hughes, he was emotional in his speech that he gave to the New Jersey Devils and their fans in Newark. This was actually his first game back in the lineup. He missed the last 3 games prior to this because of a lower body injury. So this was actually his first game back in the lineup. Before the Olympic break, he didn't play the last 3 games for the New Jersey Devils. So Jack Hughes chipped the tooth. He was toothless, and he still found a way to score the golden goal for Team USA. Happy about that. It was a long time coming for USA too. 46 years later, to the same day, they win gold medal. 3rd gold medal in Team USA history. Before the Devils, they lost 4 in a row. They lost 6 in their last 7 games. And they dropped to 28-28-2 the season at 500. They start a 2-game road trip into Steel City, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, against the Penguins on Thursday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Sabres head to Florida for a back-to-back Florida game set against the Panthers on Friday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. They'll be in Tampa on Saturday to take on the Lightning at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. But speaking of the Lightning, they were in action yesterday against the Toronto Maple Leafs, in which they won 4-2 in Tampa on Wednesday. They stayed red hot. They improved to 38-14-4 the season. They won 6 in a row. They won 10 at home. 9-1-0 in their last 10 games. And they have 80 points in the Atlantic Division. Brayden Point, he had 2 goals and assists for a 3.9 in his return to the lineup. He last played on January 12th of 2026 against the Flyers. He missed the past 11 games with a lower body injury. So this was his first game back since then. It's been a long time coming for Brayden Point. He didn't even play in the Stadium Series game, which that was a great game, by the way, against the Boston Bruins. Nikita Kucherov, what doesn't he do? He always scores, always finds a way to put up points. He had a goal and 2 assists for a 3.9 in this one to extend his point streak to 11 games, which he has 27 points during the span. 7 goals, 20 assists for 27 points during a 11-game point streak. And he also reached 700 NHL assists in just 855 games. And he became the 2nd fastest player to do it that was born outside of North America to reach the milestone, behind only the great Peter Stastny, who did it in 784 games. And Nikita Kucherov, he is Russian. And I think if we were able to see Russian in the Olympics, they probably would have been another top team in that discussion that would have won gold medal. I'm just saying, because Russia really have a stacked team for sure. Hopefully we see them in the 2028 World Cup of Hockey event. But Russia has a lot of great NHL players. Alex Ovechkin, greatest goal scorer of all time. Nikita Kucherov, all he does is put up points every single game. Kirill the Thrill Kaprizov, Andrei Vasilevsky, the Big Cat. You got Bob, Sergei Bobrovsky, Dmitry Orlov. Like, Russia will be so stacked if they were in best on best international play. So, just saying. Nikita Kucherov also reached 30 goals for the 9th time in his career, tying Steven Stamkos for the most in Lightning history. And Andrei Vasilevsky made 32 saves on 34 shots faced the net. John Cooper, he did not coach in this game and will not coach in Thursday's game following the death of his father. And so Lightning assistant coaches Rob Zettler and Jeff Halpern, hopefully I pronounced that last name right, will continue to split the duties in John Cooper's absence. For the Toronto Maple Leafs, John Tavares and Matthew Knies had the goals for the Leafs. Excuse me, sorry. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry. Man. Sorry. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm so sorry about that, guys. But for the Maple Leafs, John Tavares and Matthew Knies had the other goals for Toronto. Both goals coming in the final 5 minutes of the third period. They were down 3-0 at the time. And so John Tavares scored on power play for Toronto. Brayden Point pushed the lead to 4-1 for Tampa. And Matthew Knies made it 4-2 with 3 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the third period. And Anthony Stolarz made 32 saves on 36 shots, faced the net. And the Maple Leafs 3-game win streak comes to an end. And they dropped to 27, 22, and 9 of the season. 6 points out of a playoff spot. And like I said, there's still time. Things could change somewhere throughout the point of the season. So there's still time for the Maple Leafs to try and clinch the Stanley Cup playoffs. And if they don't, this will be the first time that Austin Matthews, William Nylander, will miss out on the playoffs in their NHL career. But at least Austin Matthews has an Olympic gold medal. So this is kind of like his Stanley Cup final, if you know what I mean. The Leafs head to Sunrise, Florida to play the two-time Cup champion Florida Panthers Thursday. At 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time, the Lightning head to Raleigh to play the Hurricanes on Thursday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. But now moving on from the East Coast to the West Coast. From one tropical environment to another. From Tampa to LA. Vegas Golden Knights, they take down the LA Kings in a high-scoring game on Wednesday with a 6-4 win. They improved to 28, 16, and 14 of the season. They won 3 in a row. Vegas was without their forwards, Jack Eichel, Mark Stone, Mitch Marner, along with defensemen Noah Hannafin and Shea Theodore following the 2026 Winter Olympics in Milan, Italy. So they lost of key players in this one. But pretty sure they'll be back for their next game, which I think is in Washington on Friday against the Capitals. Pavel Dorofeyev scored twice for the Golden Knights, but this was a third goal palooza I should say a third period goal palooza that helped the Golden Knights win 6-4. They got goals from Colton Sissons, Brandon Saad, which was the go-ahead goal, Riley Smith, and Ivan Barbashev. And Pavel Dorofeyev had one of his goals in the third period and another one in the first period. Aiden Hill, he made 15 saves on 19 shots, faced the net. And for the LA Kings, Artemi Panarin. Fortunately, he did not score this one, but he did come away with 2 assists in his LA Kings debut. He was acquired in a trade for the New York Rangers for Liam Greentree and 2 conditional draft picks on February 4th. Let's see how many shots on goal did he have in that game. I forgot to put that down in my notes, so I'm just going to look this up for you guys for just 1 second. And I'm sorry about earlier. I had to clear my throat. Like the past few weeks or so, I had a runny nose. Like I was kind of sick, had a cold and stuff. I just can't wait for spring to come and for summer. Not only do I get to celebrate my birthday in the summer, but also the weather will be so much nice stuff. And not having to deal with the cold. Although I am kind of used to the cold, being from up north, so kind of used to that. But sometimes I just want to break from the coldness. But yeah, Artemi Panarin, he had 3 shots on goal in his LA Kings debut. Fortunately, none of them found the back of the net. But I thought he would have scored in this one because he always seems to score in his debut with a new team, like when he made his Blackhawks debut back in the 2015-16 season, and he was a undrafted player, by the way. The Blackhawks actually signed him. He did not get drafted, but they signed him in free agency following the Blackhawks 2015 Stanley Cup win. But in his Blackhawks debut, he had a goal against the New York Rangers. I think that goals on Henrik Lundqvist. I don't think the Rangers had their backup goalie in net for that game. So he scored his first NHL career goal on Henrik Lundqvist. And then when he went to the Blue Jackets in, I want to say 2017, 2018, he scored in his debut with the Blue Jackets. And then when he went to the Rangers in, what was that year? 2020? Because I know in 2019 he was still with the Blue Jackets. So I want to say 2020 that he came to the Rangers. He had a goal in that one. And now in 2026, I thought he was going to score in this one because, like I said, he always seems to score in his debut with a new team. Fortunately, he did not, but he still came away with 2 points in this one, which were those 2 assists. And the Kings won this trade, by the way. They get a high-scoring offensive forward in Artemi Panarin, who should help them with their offense. Like I said, he's a really good offensive player to have on your team. So I can't wait to see how the Kings will do down the stretch with him. They are 3 points out of a playoff spot, by the way. They got the Kraken. I think the Kraken are ahead of them in the wild card spot in the Western Conference. Mammoth and the Kraken have those 2 wild card spots, and I think the Kraken have the second wild card spot. But there's still time left in the season, though, so don't panic if you're a Kings fan. Quentin Byfield, he scored twice in this game. Adrian Kempe, he had a goal and assist in the game for a 2-point night. Brant Clark also scored for the Kings, while Anton Forsberg made 19 saves on 24 shots faced the net. And the LA Kings lose their 4th straight game, which they are 0-3-1 during the span. And they dropped to 23-20-14 in the season. Like I said, 3 points out. There is still time left. Do not panic if you're a Kings fan. There is still time left. Things could change somewhere throughout the season. 3 points out of a playoff spot. The Mammoth and the Kraken have those 2 wild card spots locked. Kraken with 63, Mammoth with 64. Mammoth losing last night to the Avalanche 4-2. The LA Kings continue their 6-game homestand against Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers on Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Central Time. That game will air on ESPN for you guys to watch. The Golden Knights continue their 5-game road trip in the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. against the Capitals on Friday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Moving on to the Oilers and Ducks game, another Pacific Division showdown. Cody Gauthier, Philadelphia's most hated player. He scored the game-winning goal in the Ducks' 6-5 win over the Edmonton Oilers on Wednesday. Scored with 1 minute and 14 seconds remaining in the third period. And with the win, Anaheim improves to 31-23-3 of the season. 10-2-0 in their past 12 games. They're 18-8-1 at home. Second in the Pacific Division with 65 points, which is the latest that the Ducks have been in a playoff spot since 2017-18, in which they had Ryan Getzlaf on the team then. They had Corey Perry still playing for them. I think Ryan Kessler was still on that team. John Gibson in net for the Anaheim Ducks. I'm trying to think who else was on that team there. Cam Fowler, also on the Ducks team at the time. And yeah, but the Ducks, they are currently seated second place in the Pacific Division. Leo Carlson had a goal and 2 assists for a 3-point night in his return to the Ducks lineup. He missed the past 11 games following a procedure to treat a left thigh injury. He also had an assist on Cody Gauthier's game-winning goal. It set him up for the goal, so he was really crucial in that. Ian Moore, Alex Killorn, Olin Zellweger, and Beckett Seneca had the other goals for the Ducks. Beckett Seneca leads NHL rookies with 19 goals for the Ducks. Chris Kreider, he had 2 assists in the game. Jason LeCombe, I think he came away with assists in the game. I'm not sure, but he is back with the Ducks after winning gold medal with Team USA. Didn't really see him do too much in the Winter Olympics, but he was on that USA gold medal team. So, yeah. Lucas Dostal, he made 22 saves on 27 shots faced in net. And Anaheim has now had 8 comeback wins this season. But the big takeaway from this game is head coach Joe Quenneville earning his 1,000th career NHL win. 1,000 career NHL wins for Joe Quenneville as a Blackhawks fan. Really happy to see that. I know he coached the Blackhawks for the majority of his NHL career. He really helped us in the 2010s, led us to 3 Stanley Cups in the 2010s, 2010, 2013, and 2015. So as a Blackhawks fan, really happy to see that he got his 1,000th career NHL win. But the Blackhawks weren't the only team that he coached, of course. He coached the Blues, he coached the Avalanche, he coached the Panthers before he was fired because of the Kyle Beach sexual assault situation and the other stuff that happened back in 2021. It still feels kind of weird to see him back in the NHL after that. Like, it feels weird to see him back in the NHL after that. Like, he was involved. Like, he kind of knew about the situation, but didn't say anything then. And then the video coach for the Blackhawks in 2010, he was most definitely involved in that situation. But yeah, Joe Quenneville was fired as the Panthers head coach after that situation. So again, still feels weird seeing him back in the NHL, but the Ducks were able to pick him up, and now they're doing really good with Coach Q behind the bench. For the Edmonton Oilers, Matt Savoy, he had a goal and 2 assists for a 3-point night. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Evan Bouchard each had a goal and assist for a 2-point night. Evan Bouchard actually leads all NHL defensemen with 65 points this season. 16 goals, 49 assists for 65 points this season. Zach Hyman also scored for the Oilers. He's up to 23 goals of the season for them. 21 goals in 29 games since December 11, which is the most in the NHL in that span. Jack Vasovic had another goal for the Oilers. Tristan Jarry, he was pulled in this game. He allowed 5 goals and 25 shots faced in net. He was replaced by Connor Ingram, who made 3 saves on 4 shots in relief. And the Oilers have lost a season-high 4 games this season, and they dropped to 28, 23, and 8 of the season. They're still in 3rd place in the Pacific Division. 64 points in the Pacific Division. Kraken are literally right behind them in the wild card spot with 63 points. And they're 27, 21, and 9 of the season. So it is really close right there. And I'm not sure, do the Kraken play today? The Kraken do play today. They play against the St. Louis Blues today at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time. The Oilers are also in action today against the LA Kings at 9:30 p.m. Central Time. So both teams really needing wins right there. Because like I said, the Kraken are literally right behind the Oilers for that 3rd place wildcard spot. So games are going to be really necessary at this point of the season. So both teams looking for huge wins and a big 2 points against their opponents. Kraken, like I said, in St. Louis playing the Blues. Oilers out in LA playing the LA Kings. But yeah, that's going to be 2 huge games right there for both of those teams. The Ducks, they will continue their 9-game homestand against the Winnipeg Jets on Friday at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time. And like I said, Oilers will be in LA. This is part of their 3-game road trip against the Kings on Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Central Time. That game you can watch on ESPN. Taking a look at the other games from the Wednesday slate. Capitals take down the Flyers 3-1. They had 2 late goals in the third period to power them to the 3-1 win. Trevor Van Riemsdyk with the game-winning goal. The Stars defeat the Kraken 4-1, which we saw Wyatt Johnson scored twice in that one. And the Stars win their 7th straight game. The Avalanche take down the Mammoth 4-2. Logan Cooley returned to the lineup for the Mammoth. Missed the previous 28 games with a lower body injury. Dylan Guenther scored twice for Utah. And before the game, the Mammoth fans gave a huge standing ovation to Clayton Keller because he was part of that USA gold medal team in the Winter Olympics in Milan. So Clayton Keller got a huge standing ovation before the game. Jets win 3-2 in overtime against the Canucks. Cole Perfetti with the overtime game-winning goal. Connor Hellebuyck did not play in this game for the Winnipeg Jets, but he will play, or probably will play, in their next game on Friday when the Ducks take on, not the Ducks, the Jets take on the Anaheim Ducks in that one. I meant to say it that way because Connor Hellebuyck obviously does not play for the Anaheim Ducks, plays for the Winnipeg Jets. So that's why I had to rephrase that sentence. But yeah, he'll be back in that one on Friday. Not in this one on Wednesday against Vancouver, though. But Jets still found a way to win in overtime. Kyle Connor actually was in this game. Kyle Connor was also part of a USA gold medal team. And he actually did play this game against the Canucks. But Connor Hellebuyck, not in this game for Winnipeg. But he'll probably be back on Friday's game against the Ducks. So the Jets had Eric Comrie in net for this one against Vancouver. We're taking a look at the NHL games on the slate for today. We had 8 games on the slate for yesterday. Now there is a whopping 12-game slate for today. Starting with the CBJ, Columbus Blue Jackets taking on the Boston Bruins. That's 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Then we got the New York Islanders taking on the Montreal Canadiens at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. And then we got the Detroit Red Wings taking on the Ottawa Senators at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Dylan Larkin versus Brayden Point. The 2 captains of their respective teams. Both teams looking to punch their ticket to the Stanley Cup playoffs. They were friends when they were on Team USA at the Winter Olympics. Now they're going to be enemies for the rest of the season, and in this game particularly, as both teams look to make a playoff push. Red Wings looking to snap a 10-year playoff drought. They last made the playoffs in 2016, which was a decade ago. They're looking to snap that drought this year. So this will be a huge game for the Red Wings against Brayden Point and the Ottawa Senators. Then we got the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Florida Panthers at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Austin Matthews versus Matthew Tkachuk. Teammates on the USA roster for the Winter Olympics. Enemies in this game. We'll see how that game turns out. Maple Leafs playing a back-to-back set. Coming off a 4-2 loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Look to respond to this one against the defending champs. And the Panthers, they are looking to win as much games as they can, because take a look at the standings. They are 8 points out of a playoff spot, and that had to do with the injuries to Matthew Tkachuk and Alexander Barkov. Actually, Matthew Tkachuk was out with surgery. He's back for the season, obviously. I still think I'm not going to say the Panthers will miss out on the playoffs because, like I said before on the Hockey Talk TV podcast, they still have pieces to try and make a run to the Stanley Cup playoffs. So don't count the 2-time Cup champions out yet. They still have pieces to make a playoff run. Their captain, Alexander Barkov, may be out for the entire season, but that team still has some pieces. So don't count out the champs just yet. I still believe that they can make the playoffs. I still believe that they can make a run to the Stanley Cup playoffs. And then we got the New Jersey Devils taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Devils also playing their back-to-back set, and they're also coming off a loss to the Sabres, losing 2-1 to them on Wednesday. And then we got the Tampa Bay Lightning playing the Carolina Hurricanes, 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Lightning, another team that's playing their back-to-back set, won 4-2 over the Maple Leafs at home. And then we got the Philadelphia Flyers taking on the New York Rangers at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time. That game will air on ESPN for you guys to watch. And then we got Seattle Kraken taking on the St. Louis Blues at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time. This will be a huge game for the Seattle Kraken. Not as much for the St. Louis Blues, but a huge game for Seattle. Looking to get another huge 2 points in this one against the St. Louis Blues. And then we got a Central Division showdown between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Nashville Predators at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Connor Bedard, even though it wasn't on Team Canada, still looking to make a huge push for the season for the Blackhawks. The Blackhawks obviously not going to be a playoff team, but still looking to put on a great performance for the Chicago Blackhawks. Looking to put Team Canada on notice and let them have him participate in next Olympics, which will be in 2030 in France, or possibly the 2028 World Cup of Hockey event. So putting Team Canada on notice, looking to get back into that form that he was in before he got hurt. Was one of the top 3, top 5 players in the league before Connor Bedard got hurt in that game against St. Louis. Looking to get back in that form when the Blackhawks take on the Predators in the Music City, Nashville, Tennessee. And then we got another Central Division showdown between the Minnesota Wild and the Colorado Avalanche at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Quinn Hughes versus Nathan McKinnon. Nathan McKinnon obviously upset about losing to Team USA in the gold medal game, especially about that wide open net chance he had. And then I think his shot had ranged off the post against Connor Hellebuck. So Molly definitely upset, but he's back with the Colorado Avalanche. Going to be looking to get a win over the Minnesota Wild after losing in the Olympics. But anyways, Calgary Flames taking on the San Jose Sharks at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Matt Celebrini back with the San Jose Sharks after participating in his first Olympics. And looking to resume that talented, incredible play that we have seen from him all throughout the season so far with the San Jose Sharks. He has a bright future with the San Jose Sharks, so we're going to be seeing, Sharks fans are going to be seeing a lot more from this kid. And hockey fans that love to watch Macklin Celebrini, they're going to be seeing a lot more from him as well in the next coming years and throughout his NHL career. And in the last game of the night, we got the Edmonton Oilers out west taking on the LA Kings at 9:30 p.m. Central Time. That game will also air on ESPN. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this at some point in the show, but there are 49 days left until the end of the regular season. And I think the Stanley Cup playoffs start on April 18th or 19th. I'm not sure. I'll try and look it up before we end this episode of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. I think it starts on April 18th. Yeah, I knew it. Stanley Cup playoffs start on April 18th. The regular season ends on April 16th. So there are 49 days left of the 2025-26 NHL season. So, still time for things to happen. And the trade deadline is on next Friday, March the 6th. So teams are going to be looking to make some huge changes to their roster, and they're going to be looking to get points every night as they push towards the playoffs. So it's going to be interesting to see how this stretch goes down in the final month or two for the 2025-26 NHL season. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Hockey Talk TG podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in as always. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button on YouTube. Make sure to follow the Hockey Talk TG podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. We are with you every Tuesday and Thursday from 1 o'clock p.m. to 1:30 p.m. Central Time, 2 o'clock p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure to follow the Hockey Talk TG podcast on all your podcast streaming platforms. Both of you guys have a great rest of your day. Keep God first as always. Be blessed. Enjoy your weekend. And I'll see you guys back here on Tuesday for another episode of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. Take care.